Anybody want some donuts? It's been a little bit since I've done a sort of one-off anime review, and I figured since recently I went through the amazing original series of Trigun, with the reboot/remake Trigun Stampede soon to come out, I figured might as well cover it. These were like the closest thing I could get to like Vash's. I would love to have glasses like Vash. These are like the closest I could get. I don't know if I could keep these on the whole time because, good lord, this is all you can see when you wear them. Don't know how Vash does it. You just have the permanent Mexico filter. Every light is orange. I can only tell out really strong blues and greens. Other than that, I can't tell. Like, everything is orange. This literal orange is yellow. These are like some intense like welding glasses or something. But either way, Trigun. It's a series that started serializing in 1998. I know that the show started airing in the same year as Cowboy Bebop, funnily enough. But I think the manga started serializing in 95. I'm bad with dates. You should try actually going on one with me. Trigun, it's an old series. It's an oldie but a goodie. But I recently went through it for the first time because, you know, I'm still a fairly new anime fan, you know? I've consumed a lot of the classics, some good ones, a lot of garbage as well. Like, I'm definitely a weeb, but, you know, I haven't been watching it since birth, like a lot of people have. I had my awakening in high school. I watched DBZ as a child. But Trigun, it's always been one of those series that I've heard about. You know, I've heard the legend of Vash the Stampede, and that's about it. I didn't know anything else really about Trigun. But, you know, as I was just scrolling through Crunchyroll, looking for my next binge to do, and Trigun caught my eye, you know? I always have a soft spot for the classics. Alright, screw it. Episode 1. Click. Let's go. I did know. I was just like, alright, it's an older one, so let's do English dub. I didn't realize, and honestly, I probably knew, but I forgot that Johnny Young Bosch is the voice of Vash the Stampede. It's always nice to have a familiar voice, especially going all the way back to that time. I guess I'll open with this. What is the basic plot of Trigun? Trigun, I'm gonna try to stay as spoiler free as possible. Again, with these one-off reviews, I like to keep it that way. Because this one, I think you can talk about it without really spoiling it. It takes place on a planet that isn't Earth, where pretty much humanity was once cast into space, you know, Earth had to be abandoned. We have to find a new home, and lo and behold, eventually humanity found its way on this world, where it sort of is like, it's futuristic, but it's more Western. It's kind of like Westworld in a way. You know, humanity being so far in the future, but our current setting is like so far in the past. Again, very Cowboy Bebop-esque. But pretty quickly you're introduced to the character of Vash the Stampede, and what a character he is. Right away you're like, okay, so he's kind of like a bumbling coward or whatever. He just survives through pure coincidence. But then you find out it's like, no, he's just a walking enigma that is able to just dodge bullets and be a really good gunslinger. Then, like, eventually you find out, like, about his past and whatnot. But again, I won't spoil all that. Then, of course, you meet Meryl and Millie of their whole association and whatnot. I don't know if I can wear these, man. Oh my god, everything's blue. That's better. That's as far as I can really describe in terms of the plot without really spoiling too much. But I'm just going to get into what I just really loved about Trigun. Of course, first things first, I do have a soft spot for a lot of the older shows and whatnot, especially like watching them nowadays. Watching stuff like Ava, DBZ, Yu Yu Hakusho, a lot of the classics. First thing, of course, is just the music was so good. It's one of those ones where it's like they made like an initial soundtrack and then they used it over the course of the show. It just hit like all those like Western themes, a lot of it that I still just listen to. It's a simple enough soundtrack to where it's like the theme can be used for a chaotic scene or like a happy scene or a sad scene, and it's just above it all, this show is just an artistic show. Like, it's just so beautifully drawn, animated, and of course just the amazingly written characters in this. Of course, like for me, Wolfwood is an absolute standout. Vash was always just the most fun to watch. I mean, obviously, he's our main character, he's our foil, he sort of has to be. I didn't necessarily find myself, like, getting super emotional, like crying or anything, but I definitely had a lot of moments where I was just like, because a lot of Vash's philosophy that you find out about during the story is that he won't kill, even so much to the point where, like, he accidentally, like, fires a shot and hits somebody in a vital spot, and he's just like, oh shit, and like he just stops everything that's happening right now. And you know, of course the guys with him are just like, what are you doing, we have to go, like just leave him. He's like, no, He very much has the whole, like, every life is precious mentality. I'm all for that, like, if it's done right, which this show absolutely did amazingly with Vash's, to the point where it's just, like, even when people who aren't Vash are, like, killing people, they're like, did you have to kill them? And it's just cool when that sort of mentality of Vash, like, rubs off on the people he's around as well. You know, I'm all for my anime characters who just don't care and just will kill, like, you know, Spike Spiegel, Kiritsugu Emiya, Vegeta, you know. If it's written well enough and just makes me give a shit about that philosophy, then it's like, I'm all for it, which, again, this show did amazingly well. Welcome back to Mexico. I am just a little nervous though, because again, the Trigun Stampede show, which is just around the corner, again, it's a remake, reboot thing. I don't know, just from what I've seen about it, I mean, I'm sure it'll be a fine show, but just, you know, trying to remove just that, like, comparison, it's gonna be really hard. I'm of course gonna watch it because I really like Trigun, but if anything, because, you know, they had the Trigun movie, which took place, like, before the end of the series, kind of like how Cowboy Bebop had its movie, which takes place, like, before, like, the last bit of the series. Trigun had something like that as well, where it's, like, in a newer sort of style, just a little bit more updated. I was very surprised how much I really enjoyed that movie, actually. Going into it, I was just like, okay, it's probably just gonna be, like, a fun, like, hey, remember Trigun? Like, this is a cool story, but then I found myself, like, very invested in the story, especially, like, in the characters that were introduced, like, just in that movie, and just how well they, like, bounced off of the established characters. It was weird hearing, like, different voices for certain characters, like, obviously, because, you know, you're going from the 90s to, like, the 2010s, so obviously Johnny Young Bosch still sounds the same, but, you know, hearing a different voice for Wolfwood, that was jarring, but, you know, you're able to get used to it. I liked how the opening and ending and whatnot, it wasn't like a typical opening where it's like, you know, they're singing and vocals and whatnot. It was just like a instrumental, like a Led Zeppelin kind of song, which, you know, I'm all for. Some of my favorite types of music are ones that don't have vocals and it's just instrumentals. Check out my video breaking down said music. At the end of the day, I cannot recommend Trigun enough, especially if you're someone who's, like, really into Cowboy Bebop or just, like, into, like, Western style stuff, cowboy movies and all that. So in terms of a score, of course, what would I give Trigun? I give it a 9 out of 10. When it comes to one-off reviews, is there really a point in me ranking them? Chances are if I'm dedicating a whole video to them, then they're really up there. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend watching it on Crunchyroll or any streaming service. If you can get your hands on the Blu-rays or anything, like, I'd recommend that, because Crunchyroll is weird because I can tell that it hasn't really been exported properly and whatnot, because it still has, like, a little bit of that grain. I mean, it kind of has that authenticity to it. Kind of takes you back, like, there's a little bit of grain, the frame isn't exactly cut off correctly. Again, I kind of like it, you know, kind of takes you back to when, like, this was released. Didn't really take me out of it. At the end of the day, Trigun is so much fun. It's definitely become one of my tops in recent times. It's 25 episodes and a movie. Or is it 26? Why don't I just check, motherfucker? 26, yeah. Like, by the end of it, it's one of those ones where it's like, dang it, why is it not longer, man? But it's fine. If anything, like, it's perfectly well paced. I haven't read the manga yet. I really want to, because I know that there is differences. The show still handles everything pretty amazingly from what I've seen. In case you haven't been paying attention to the channel recently, I've been doing sort of a 12 days of Christmas, trying to upload every single day leading up to Christmas. And once we get there will be an interesting little special that I'll be doing here on the channel that you'll be seeing this coming Sunday, which is Christmas. Why am I doing this? I don't know, because why not? I just really felt like it. This year has been really great for me in terms of the channel and everything. So, you know, it feels like a good send-off, you know, doing a little bit of 12 days of Christmas, giving you a video every day. I've realized now how hellish daily uploads can be, but, you know, this is what I sign up for with the job. It's still really fun. I'm still putting as much effort as I can into these videos, and I just hope you all are enjoying it, and you'll continue to stick with me for the rest of the year and going into 2023. So, thank you for enjoying this review of Trigun. Join me next time for everything else that the future holds. So until next time, I'm Lancer. Thanks for watching.